Welcome everyone, welcome to the Unifor Hall and for this press conference to support our members in the media sector, and it's an announcement about saving local news and the path forward. Unifor represents more than 10,000 media workers all across the country, and following the closure of Glacier Media's digital community newspapers in April and May, which affected the jobs of Unifor Local 2000 members, we're very excited to announce that journalists are now banding together to form a worker co-op with the goal of launching a newspaper in these regions of British Columbia. Unifor is Canada's media union, and unfortunately we have seen closures over the past few years, and readers have lost access to the news that those outlets provided. The Glacier media closures affected the communities of Burnaby, New Westminster, Port Moody, Anmore, Belcarra, Coquitlam, and Port Coquitlam, contributing to the troubling news deserts in Metro Vancouver. 4 long-time community news reporters have joined forces with Unifor and the Union Cooperative initiative to launch the Save Our Local News campaign. We're very happy to support this initiative. This bold initiative aims to create a fresh, trusted, and reliable news publication in the growing communities of New Westminster, Burnaby, and the Tri-Cities. This grassroots project shows the tenacity and dedication of journalists who care about their communities and the work they produce. This is not just a fight against news deserts, this is a fight for democracy. Thousands of residents and organizations in the Tri-Cities, Burnaby, and New Westminster communities have lost access to their long-standing local news publications with the recent closures of the New Westminster Record, the Burnaby Now, and the Tri-City News. This project is one that puts communities over profits, and the co-op is asking the community to support this campaign, to support by fundraising, and fundraising starts now at savelocalnews.ca. And to help with the fundraising to launch this exciting project, Unifor is very happy today to announce an initial contribution of $5,000 to make sure we get this going. And with that, I will turn you over to the very important journalists, and I'll start with Mario, who can explain more about this project. Thank you.
My name is Mario Bartel. I worked at the Tri-City News for the past 8 years. Prior to that, I worked at the Burnaby and New West News Leaders for 15 years, which were also shut down. And prior to that, I was at the Tri-City News since 1991. Thank you all for coming. On April 17th at 5:19 p.m., Glacier Media closed the New Westminster Record, Burnaby Now, and Tri-City News. These publications served our communities for more than 40 years, and their closure means about 500,000 people no longer have a robust, reliable source of local news and information. Except for some modest email newsletter efforts, we're now living in a local news desert. We won't know how decisions were made at City Hall or our school districts. We won't learn about community leaders or the challenges faced by some of our neighbors. We'll be deprived of useful and interesting information about upcoming events like arts events and festivals. We won't read about the next great artist or athlete before they become Michael Bublé, Christine Sinclair, or Kent Johnson. And I covered all 3 of those people when they were teenagers, when they were still breaking out. No one knew about them. The local news isn't just about information. The stories we tell help tie us all together. They contribute to a common sense of connection to the communities where we live, work, and play. Without local news, we're just left with gossip, conjecture, speculation, and misinformation spread on social media. You just have to look south to see what the result of that is. According to the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, almost 2.5 million Canadians have no source of local news anymore. We're losing about 25 print publications every year, many of them community newspapers. And those that remain have seen their newsrooms diminish to skeletal levels, all in the name of maintaining profit levels for their corporate owners. There has to be a better way. There has to be a way to keep our communities informed and connected that's viable and sustainable. There has to be a way to put community back into community news. And to tell us how we're going to do that, here's Cornelia Naylor from the Burnaby Now.
Thanks, Mario. The 4 reporters here today, Mario, Theresa McManus, and Janis Cleugh, and I represent more than 100 years of covering New West, Burnaby, and the Tri-Cities. We live in these communities too. Personally, it's broken my heart over the last 2 months to see what happens when communities lose their reliable source of local news. I was the Burnaby Now education reporter for 11 years. Just last week, the Burnaby School Board passed a budget that included $3.3 million in cuts to local schools. With the now shut down, however, there was no one at that 4-hour meeting to report on what concerned citizens lined up to say, or to give context to the board's difficult decision. And that's just one example from one of these cities of the many important local stories that are no longer being told by reporters who really know them. Like Mario said, there has to be a better way. So we're here today to announce a plan. With the support of Unifor Local 2000, our union that helped us through the recent closures, and the Union Cooperative Initiative, we hope to forge a fresh new plan or path to save local news in Burnaby, New Westminster, and the Tri-Cities, and maybe even become a model for similar efforts in other communities across Canada. Our plan is to launch a new community-owned, worker-run news publication that will put sharing local stories ahead of chasing profit. To support that work, we're here today to kick off the first phase of a Save Our Local News fundraising campaign. The way we see it, this is our community's chance to have a real stake in the stories, in our stories and how they're told. This is our community's chance to ensure that our stories continue to be told. I'd like to now introduce Janis Cleugh, Managing Director at the Union Cooperative Initiative, who will give you a few more details about the Save Our Local News campaign and how people can step up and help. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks very much, Cornelia. I'm so honored to be here today. As Cornelia said, my name is Janis Cleugh. I'm the Managing Director for the Union Cooperative Initiative. I live here in Burnaby. And like many of you, I was absolutely devastated by the closure of the Burnaby Now. I'm a bit old school. I miss waking up on my Friday morning with my coffee, picking up my paper and learning about what's happening in my community. We are in a local news desert, and I am just so honored to be working with these veteran journalists who provide not only a service, but they're an institution in our community. I call them the conscience of our community. And they have been working tirelessly to launch this new initiative. The union co-op model is relatively new in British Columbia, but it has a deep and long history in our province and across North America. Our role is supporting workers in building their own co-ops. This is going to be a community-owned, community-focused, community-accountable news organization that's run by workers. We're not going to have to worry about American owners pulling out funding and cutting local news. This is going to be the first in Western Canada, and it's going to be a leader across North America, and we don't have to build something brand new. This model has already been forged in Quebec when in 2019, funding was pulled from 6 local dailies. With the support of the community, with the support of the Quebec government, workers came together and they saved 6 local papers. They saved over 300 jobs. We're starting with a powerful and mighty 4, the fresh 4, and we're gonna drive this. And they are so incredibly lucky to have the support of, I would say, visionary leadership in Unifor with Gavin, with Brian and Bill, and they're local, providing not only core funding, but institutional funding for this. So this morning we launched a campaign for the first phase of fundraising. Our goal is to reach $100,000, and we know there's going to be more fundraising and ad sales to come. So expect to see an army of volunteers and organizers hitting the streets, hitting doorsteps, hitting small businesses over the coming months. And I'm really excited to announce that we've already achieved 10% of our fundraising goal. And I think we launched 10 minutes ago, so about $1,000 a minute is coming in. And I have to honor Unifor's commitment. Our former MP in New Westminster and Burnaby, Peter Julian, who gave $1,000 and opened it up this morning. So I'm really excited about the momentum we're going to be building here, and just want to shout out to the founding 4, the fresh 4, who are, I just came up with that. I think it's going to, maybe we'll stick. They're not used to being on this side of the table, and this is a huge, courageous step. They're putting their name on the line, and our team of organizers, developers are going to be with them every step of the way. So really, really excited to be here. I'm going to turn it over to Brian from the local union to give our closing remarks.
Yes, thanks, Johnny. My name is Brian Gibson. I'm the president of Unifor Local 2000. We do represent workers throughout BC at newspapers, print shops, radio, television, and also produce chocolates here in the Lower Mainland. We've been around actually since 1884, we have been the voice of media workers for a long time. So with that, I just wanted to point out that unfortunately, it's our job with all these closures that's been happening throughout BC. We've, kind of got this sort of reputation of being able to get these closure agreements where it's our job to get as much as we can from the employers that they close, right? But too many are closing, and that's my point throughout British Columbia. We lost Kamloops this week in Kamloops. We lost the Alaska Highway News in Fort St. John. We lost Dawson Creek Mirror. All these publications going back into the 40s in some cases. I mean, it's just... it's been really difficult. So, when we heard about the UCI and found a partner with them with this new model, it's something that we wanted to jump on board because, as Gavin said in his opening remarks, this is a strike against democracy. I mean, it's that basic idea that these newspaper closures throughout BC they have no voice of what's going on at City Hall. They don't hear the decisions going on. And that's an important part of democracy, is that having an informed electorate, right? So I just think it's an important initiative to get on. Local 2000's been at the forefront of different things over the years in support and changing the working lives, including, as I found out, the 40-hour work week and so on and so forth. So we're happy to lead again in this, and with partnering with of course, Unifor National and supporting the four, the Fab Four, or the famous four, whatever you're calling it, Johnny. Fresh Four, okay. And also we're working with UCI, so I'm excited about that. So hopefully, just so everyone knows, saveourlocalnews.ca is the website, and we encourage you to donate and keep an eye out for future fundraising, because our hope is to bring back the voice to the communities. Thank you.